My girlfriend said, "It didn't mean anything. He was just better than you at a few things." I replied, "Then he can be better at covering your bills as well." Then I canceled Lease and accepted the promotion, choosing to walk away and leave her behind in the silence. My name is Aaron. I am 32, and I work in commercial insurance underwriting in Chicago. My days are structured. I review risk portfolios, calculate exposure, and make decisions that protect companies from expensive mistakes. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment downtown, close enough to walk to work. I pay all my bills on time, invest consistently, and keep a predictable routine. My girlfriend, Claire, is 29. We had been together a little over 2 years, and for the last 9 months she had been living with me. She works in event marketing, which means her schedule is chaotic and her income fluctuates depending on contracts. When she moved in, we agreed I would cover rent and utilities while she rebuilt her savings after a rough stretch between jobs. That arrangement made sense at the time. Claire is sharp, attractive, and very aware of it. She has this habit of framing criticism as honesty, like she is doing you a favor by pointing out where you fall short. Early on, I brushed it off as confidence. I prefer direct people. The shift started about 3 months ago when she landed a new account managing promotional events for a tech startup. Suddenly, there were after-work drinks, networking dinners, and a lot of talk about high-value men in her industry. I listened without reacting. I am not insecure, but I am observant. The first comment that stuck with me happened on a Tuesday night. We were eating takeout at the kitchen island. She was scrolling through Instagram and laughing at something. "You know," she said casually, "some of these guys I meet are on another level. Driven, competitive, not comfortable." I asked what that meant. "It just means some people settle too early," she replied. Then she looked at me and smiled in that tight way she does when she wants a reaction. I did not give her one. Over the next few weeks, the comparisons became more direct. She would mention a founder who just bought a condo in River North, or a consultant who flew to Miami on a whim, or a guy who closed a deal at 26. Each story ended the same way, with a glance in my direction. I work 50 hours a week. I am up for a regional promotion that would require relocating to Denver. I had not told her yet because it was not finalized. I prefer facts over hypotheticals. Then came the night that changed everything. We had just gotten back from one of her work events. I had gone to support her. She had introduced me to a group of men who spent the evening subtly dismissing what I do, calling it safe. On the drive home, she was quiet. When we got inside, she turned to me and said it. "It didn't mean anything. He was just better than you at a few things." I asked who. She shrugged. "Ryan, the startup operations guy. Better network. Bigger vision. More ambitious." She said it like she was reviewing a product. I stood there for a moment, letting it land. Then I said something I had not planned. "Then he can be better at covering your bills as well. And that is where this really begins." She stared at me like she expected me to laugh and turn it into a joke. I didn't. Claire crossed her arms and leaned back against the kitchen counter. "Wow, so that's how you're going to take that." "How else should I take it?" I asked. She rolled her eyes. "You're so literal sometimes." "I'm just saying he's better connected. He takes risks. You're comfortable. There's a difference." Comfortable. The way she said it made it sound like a flaw. Like stability was something people settled for when they couldn't get more. I kept my tone even. "Are you unhappy?" She hesitated. "Not unhappy. Just aware." Aware of what? That I could probably do better if I wanted to. There it was. Not anger. Not heat. Just evaluation. I've sat in enough boardrooms to recognize when someone is assessing options. I nodded once. "That's fair. Everyone can choose what they want." She blinked. That's it, I said. I went to the bedroom and grabbed my laptop. I had already run the numbers weeks ago when the Denver promotion first became serious. Salary increase of 22%. Relocation assistance. Title bump. More responsibility. More travel. I had delayed responding because I was considering her. That hesitation evaporated. From the living room, she called out, "Are you really mad about this?" "No," I answered honestly. "I'm adjusting." She walked into the bedroom doorway. "Adjusting how?" I submitted my formal acceptance for the Denver role. It required relocation within 60 days. Lease termination paperwork could be filed with a buyout clause. Expensive, but manageable. She watched me type. "You're being dramatic," she said. "No, I'm being practical. You would actually move over a comment." I looked at her. "Not over a comment. Over clarity." She laughed sharply. "You think you're proving something." I closed the laptop. "I think you already proved it." The silence that followed wasn't explosive. It was cold. Claire shifted gears, which she does when she senses control slipping. "You know I didn't mean it like that," she said, softer now. Ryan is just loud. It's networking talk. You're taking it personally. I'm not taking it personally. I'm taking it seriously. She stepped closer. So what? You're just going to uproot everything. I pay the rent here. The lease is in my name. The utilities are in my name. The car insurance we share is in my name. If uprooting happens, it will be organized. Her face tightened. You're unbelievable. No, I'm consistent. She stared at me for a long time like she was trying to calculate whether I was bluffing. I wasn't. And for the first time since we'd started dating, I saw something behind her irritation. Uncertainty. Because until that moment, I had always absorbed the criticism. Always stayed steady. Always provided. This time, I didn't argue. I simply chose. And she had no idea yet how final that choice was. The next morning felt normal on the surface. I woke up at 6. Made coffee. Checked email. Denver HR had already replied confirming the promotion package and timeline. 60 days to relocate. 30 days to formally terminate the lease with a buyout equal to 2 months' rent. It was clean. Expensive, but clean. Claire came into the kitchen around 7, wearing one of my old college sweatshirts. She acted like nothing significant had happened. Are we still on for dinner with Emily Friday? She asked, opening the fridge. No, I said calmly. We should probably start figuring out logistics instead. She shut the fridge a little harder than necessary. Logistics of what? I'm filing the lease termination today. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You're still on that. I slid the printed lease agreement across the counter. Paragraph 12. Early termination clause. I already emailed the property manager. We'll owe 2 months. I'll handle it. We. She caught that word. We owe it. She said automatically. No, I owe it. It's my lease. Her jaw tightened. So you're just deciding for both of us. I'm deciding for myself. You can decide what you want to do. She stepped closer. You're acting like I cheated on you or something. I didn't accuse you of cheating. Then why are you blowing up our life? Because I'm not going to compete for my own relationship. That landed. She crossed her arms. I wasn't making you compete. I was motivating you. By telling me another man is better. At a few things, she snapped. God, you're so sensitive. I held eye contact. No, I'm selective about what I tolerate. That was the first time I saw actual anger replace her condescension. You know what your problem is, Aaron. You're too comfortable. You think being stable is enough. Some of us want more. Then go get more, I said evenly. The room went quiet again. She looked at me like she was waiting for the part where I apologized, where I reassured her, where I said I'd work harder, earn more, be louder. It didn't come. Instead, I went to my desk and transferred the lease buyout funds from my savings into checking. I also removed her as an authorized user on my credit card. We had added her 6 months ago to help her build credit. That ended in under 30 seconds. She watched from the hallway. Are you serious right now? Yes. You're punishing me. No. I'm separating finances before things get messy. Messy how? If you think there are better options, you should be free to explore them without financial overlap. Her face flushed. So you're just giving up? I shook my head. I'm declining to audition. That's when the tone shifted completely. Because she realized I wasn't reacting emotionally. I was exiting strategically, and she hadn't prepared for that version of me. By noon, the property manager confirmed the lease termination terms in writing. 30 days notice. 2 months rent penalty. Final walkthrough required. I forwarded the email to Claire. She responded with a single message from the other room. You're insane. I walked into the living room where she was sitting on the couch, laptop open but untouched. This doesn't have to be dramatic, I said. You have 30 days to figure out where you want to go. Where I want to go? She repeated. Like this is some solo adventure. It is, I said. She stared at me, then scoffed. You think I'm moving in with Ryan or something? I shrugged. I don't think anything. You said he's better at a few things. Maybe housing is one of them. That hit harder than I expected. You're being petty now. No, I'm being consistent with your logic. She stood up abruptly. I was pushing you. That's what couples do. They push each other to grow. I nodded. And I responded by growing in a direction that aligns with me. You're running away. From what? From competition. From ambition. I looked at her evenly. I'm accepting a regional leadership role in another state. That's not running. She blinked. You actually accepted it? Yes. When were you going to tell me? When it was finalized. It is now. Her expression shifted again, this time to something closer to disbelief. So you had this lined up and didn't say anything. Because it wasn't confirmed. I don't operate on hypotheticals. She paced once across the living room. You know what this feels like? It feels like you were waiting for an excuse. I shook my head. No, I was waiting for clarity. And I got it. She stopped pacing. So that's it. 2 years, and you just pack up. 2 years where I covered rent, utilities, most groceries, and half your car repairs when your transmission failed. I didn't complain. I chose it. She flinched at the numbers. This isn't about money, she snapped. It's not. But money shows commitment. And I won't subsidize someone who thinks they can upgrade. The word upgrade clearly stung. You're twisting what I said. I'm applying it. She went quiet then, which was rare. Claire usually filled space with noise. When she got quiet, it meant she was recalculating. After a minute, she tried a different angle. You're overreacting because your ego is bruised. No, I said calmly. If my ego were bruised, I try to compete. I try to prove I'm better than Ryan. I paused deliberately. I don't compete for access to my own girlfriend. That's when the first crack showed. Not anger. Fear. Because she was starting to realize this wasn't a fight she could win by being louder or sharper. It wasn't a fight at all. It was a withdrawal. And withdrawals don't argue. They simply happen. That evening she tried charm. Claire ordered sushi from my favorite place without asking. She lit the candles we usually save for anniversaries. She wore the black dress she knew I liked. I watched the performance with professional detachment. We don't have to blow this up, she said softly, sitting across from me at the dining table. I was frustrated. I see all these high-level guys every day. It gets in your head. That's fair, I said. She looked relieved at that. But frustration doesn't justify comparison, I continued. Especially not framed as deficiency. She leaned forward. I wasn't saying you're deficient. I was saying you could push harder. I already push in the direction I value. Which is safe, she shot back. Which is stable, I corrected. She sighed dramatically. You know what I mean. No, I don't. Define it. She hesitated. Bigger risks. Bigger visibility. Bigger circles. And if I don't want those circles, then you're limiting yourself. Or I'm choosing intentionally. She stared at me like I was speaking another language. You don't want more, she said slowly. I want aligned growth. Not growth for applause. That silence came back again. She switched strategies. So what? You're just going to throw away everything because I mentioned one guy. No. I'm stepping away because you revealed how you evaluate me. You're overthinking this. No. I'm listening carefully. She pushed her plate away. You're making me feel like the villain. I shrugged slightly. I didn't assign roles. You described alternatives. Her eyes narrowed. So you're just going to abandon me. I am relocating for a promotion. You are free to come if you want to build with me. She blinked. That's the first time you've said that. Because I needed to know if you actually wanted that. She sat back. Denver isn't Chicago. I've built connections here. Connections like Ryan. Her jaw tightened again. This is about control for you, isn't it? No. It's about self-respect. I paused. If you believe someone else is better suited for the life you want, you should pursue that without financial cushioning from me. Her face flushed red. You're making it transactional. It already was. I was just the only one funding it. That hurt her more than yelling ever would have. Because it was calm. Because it was factual. Because it was not emotional. She stood up abruptly. Fine. Maybe I do want more than this. Then go get it, I said evenly. And that's when she said the line that confirmed everything. You'll regret letting me walk. I looked at her without flinching. No. I'll regret staying where I'm compared. That was the moment something in her shifted from irritation to panic. Because she finally understood. I wasn't threatening. I was done negotiating. The next 2 days were quiet. Not peaceful. Just quiet in the way a building feels after someone has already decided to sell it. Claire stopped arguing. She stopped provoking. Instead, she became overly pleasant. She asked about my day. She offered to cook. She even mentioned Denver casually, like she was warming up to the idea. I didn't engage emotionally. I answered politely. I moved forward administratively. I scheduled the movers. I booked a short-term furnished place in Denver to start. I emailed HR confirming my relocation timeline. On Thursday night, she tried again. I've been thinking, she said, sitting next to me on the couch. Maybe I was too harsh. I looked at her. I didn't mean better like overall better. Just different strengths. Strengths you prefer. She hesitated. I prefer ambition. I held eye contact. I'm being promoted to oversee 3 states. That's ambition. It just doesn't look flashy. She exhaled slowly. It's not flashy, she admitted. So the issue isn't ambition. It's optics. That word bothered her. It's not about optics. Then what is it? She looked down at her hands. When I'm at those events, she said, lowering her voice, I feel like I'm surrounded by momentum. Everyone's building something loud, fast, big. And sometimes I feel like I'm dating someone who's already arrived. I considered that. I am stable. I am structured. I am not chasing noise. She continued. Ryan talks about exits. Equity. Scaling. You talk about risk management and sustainable growth. Because most loud growth collapses, I replied calmly. She looked at me with frustration. You always sound so reasonable. That's not an insult. No, she said quietly. It's just not exciting. There it was. Not betrayal. Not cheating. Not even cruelty. Boredom. You're bored with stability, I said. I don't know. I do. She looked up sharply. You don't get to define how I feel. I'm not. I'm interpreting patterns. She leaned back. So what happens now? I move in 30 days. You decide whether you're coming or staying. And if I stay, then I hope Ryan is better at a few more things. She flinched again. You're going to keep throwing that back at me. No, I'm going to keep believing it. Silence settled between us. This wasn't dramatic. No shouting. No tears. Just two adults realizing they want different atmospheres. The difference was that she expected me to fight for her approval. Instead, I stepped out of the audition. And that's when she made one last attempt to regain control. She picked up her phone. You know, she said lightly, Ryan actually asked if I wanted to grab drinks tomorrow. I told him maybe. She watched me carefully. I nodded once. Then you should go. That's when her composure cracked. Because she wanted jealousy. What she got was permission. She did go. Friday night. She got dressed like it was a presentation. New heels. Hair done differently. Subtle but intentional. I didn't comment. You're really okay with this? She asked from the doorway. I'm not in charge of your choices. That's not what I asked. I looked at her evenly. If you need external validation to measure your value, go get it. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You're being cold. No, I'm being clear. She left around 7. I stayed home and reviewed relocation paperwork. Around 9:30, my phone buzzed. Her name. We're just talking, she texted. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later. You don't care at all, do you? Still nothing. At 11:15, she came home. Her makeup was slightly smudged. Not dramatic. Just enough to show the night ran long. She stood in the kitchen, watching me. Say something. How was it? She hesitated. Fine. Good. That's it. That's it. She stepped closer. He asked why you weren't threatened. I raised an eyebrow. And what did you say? I said you're confident. Accurate. She searched my face. He's intense, she said quietly. You like intense. Sometimes. I nodded. Then she delivered the line she thought would provoke me. He said if I were single, he'd take me to Miami next weekend. And what did you say? She swallowed slightly. I said I wasn't single. I held her gaze. But you're considering it. She didn't answer immediately. Silence confirmed more than words. I stood up. I've scheduled movers for 3 weeks from now. You should start figuring out your plan. Her eyes widened. You're not even going to ask if something happened. If something happened, you would have framed it as my fault already. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. You've changed. No. I stopped negotiating my worth. That's dramatic. No. It's efficient. Her composure cracked for the first time. So what? You're just emotionally checked out. I'm financially and logistically separating. Emotion follows clarity. She stepped back. You're really willing to lose me. I shook my head slightly. You positioned yourself as something to win. I don't chase prizes that compare me to other contestants. That landed heavy. She turned away first. Because the game only works if someone plays. And I wasn't playing anymore. The following week wasn't dramatic. It was administrative. Claire stopped mentioning Ryan entirely. No more comparisons. No more subtle digs. Just quiet observation while I organized my exit. Movers were confirmed. Lease termination signed. Security deposit forfeited. Utilities scheduled for cancellation. My new reporting structure in Denver finalized. Momentum replaced tension. On Tuesday night, she tried one last pivot. If I came with you, she asked carefully, would this just go back to normal? No, I said. She blinked. Why not? Because normal included comparison. I won't build on that. She crossed her arms. You're acting like I cheated. No, I'm acting like I listened. She paced once. You don't even want to try to fix it. There's nothing broken. We just want different atmospheres. That irritated her. So that's it. 2 years, and you're just done. Yes. The word landed harder than any argument we'd had. She stared at me like she was waiting for a crack. Some hesitation. Some emotional reversal. It didn't come. You're really willing to lose me over pride. It's not pride. It's alignment. You'd rather start over somewhere else. Yes. Silence stretched between us. Then she tried the last angle she had. Ryan invited me to Miami next weekend. I nodded once. You should go. Her jaw tightened. You're not even jealous. No. She searched my face, clearly looking for something she could push against. You're just walking away. I picked up a folder with the relocation documents and set it on the table between us. I'm not walking away. I'm walking forward. There's a difference. She shook her head slightly. You'll regret this. No, I'd regret staying where I'm measured against other options. That was the end of it. No shouting. No crying. No dramatic exit. She packed a week later and moved in with a friend temporarily. I covered the final rent and closed the utilities. We spoke only about logistics. 3 weeks later, I handed the keys to the property manager. 4 weeks later, I started in Denver. Claire texted once after I moved. You really did it. Yes, I replied. That was the entire exchange. No hostility. No reconciliation. No lingering thread. She wanted momentum and intensity. I wanted stability and respect. When she told me someone else was better at a few things, I believed her. And I chose not to compete. If he's better, he can be better at everything, including the bills. And that was the last time I needed to say anything about it. The first week in Denver was clean. New office. New team. Different altitude. I signed paperwork, reviewed regional accounts, and stepped into a role that required focus. The quiet felt earned. Claire texted twice that first week. First message. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. Second message, 2 days later. Ryan isn't what I thought. I didn't respond to either. By Friday, she escalated. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a full minute. This is the part most people drag out. The late night call. The emotional closure conversation. The half apology. I don't do half measures. I replied once. There's nothing left to discuss. She called immediately. I let it ring out. A minute later. You're really just going to erase me. I typed carefully. You evaluated alternatives. I accepted that. That's not fair, she shot back. I was frustrated. Frustration doesn't include auditioning replacements. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. He's not serious, she wrote finally. He talks big. That's it. I already knew that. That's not the point. Then what is? The point is you said someone else was better. You don't get to walk that back because the alternative underperformed. Silence on her end. A minute later, my phone rang again. I declined it. Then I did what I should have done the first night. I blocked her number, blocked her on social media, removed her from shared cloud access, closed the final loose thread. Not out of anger, out of finality. Because closure isn't a conversation. It's a boundary. 5 minutes later, a call came from an unknown number. I let it ring, then blocked that too. I don't do revolving doors. You don't compare someone to an upgrade and then expect re-entry when the upgrade glitches. The next morning was quiet again. No notifications. No what if. No emotional noise. Just work. Just forward movement. She wanted intensity. She got it. Just not from me. And that was the real difference between us. She chased excitement. I protect stability. Once she framed me as optional, I treated myself as essential. And essentials don't compete. They get locked in. Or they walk away. I chose to walk. And then I locked the door behind me. 3 weeks after I blocked her, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that she'd started seeing Ryan publicly. 2 weeks after that, apparently it ended. I didn't ask for details. I don't track outcomes of decisions I've already closed. Denver settled quickly. The new role demanded more travel, more oversight, more strategic calls. Exactly the kind of growth I value. Quiet leverage. Real authority. No theatrics. I signed on a condo 6 months in. Nothing flashy. Good neighborhood. Walking distance to the office. Predictable appreciation curve. Stability compounds. One night, about 8 months after I left Chicago, I got a LinkedIn notification. Claire viewed your profile. I didn't react. No message followed. Just visibility. That told me everything. She didn't miss me. She missed access. Access to rent paid on time. Access to structured calm. Access to someone who didn't need to posture to feel secure. When she said someone else was better at a few things, she expected me to react emotionally. Compete. Defend. Negotiate. Instead, I adjusted the balance sheet. Canceled the lease. Accepted the promotion. Relocated. Blocked the number. That silence she felt at the end wasn't punishment. It was consequence. Here's what I've learned. If someone compares you to an alternative, believe them. If someone tests whether you'll fight for their validation, decline the test. If someone positions themselves as a prize, let them compete in their own tournament. I don't regret walking. I regret that I needed the comparison to see the misalignment. But once I saw it, I didn't hesitate. She wanted intensity. I chose clarity. And clarity doesn't argue. It moves. Then it closes the door. Completely.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dominique. I am thrilled to be here, and I really appreciate this opportunity because I feel like we've got to spread the word that there's so much life over 50. You know, ladies need to know that.
Yeah, well, yes, not just over 50, but over 60 and over 70. Would you tell
That's
everybody
right.
how old you are?
Yes, I'm 73 and proud of it.
A rock star. Okay, so if you tell everybody your Instagram account.
Okay, it's Renee Fit at 70. It's